Have that wonderful turkey.
Yeah.
We can't be doing that.
Will the practice exam be on, like Monday?
It's already up.
Oh, cool.
I got it.
We have Thursday and Friday off.
We do?
Yeah.
We actually have a Thursday break? I mean, not Thursday, turkey break?
Yeah. Thursday, Friday. Most schools get the whole week. I mean, all the high schools and the June. No, just Thursday, Friday is all we get. All right. Here we go. Good morning to you. Let's dive into 12.2. Get as much done as we can. I don't think we'll finish it, but we'll get a lot of it. Is the plan. All right. So we're in chapter 12. We just started it last time. 12.1. We're in sequences and series. Basically, lists of numbers. That's what we're talking about. So here we have a formula. N plus 14. The sequence is arithmetic with common difference D equals. They're asking me. So what are they talking about? Well, basically, these curly brackets, that's a formula, N plus 14, meaning let's put in N equals 1, N equals 2, N equals 3, N equals 4, and we'll just plug them into the formula N plus 14, and we'll crank out the numbers that they're talking about. So if I plug in 1, I get 1 plus 14, 15. If I plug in 2, I get 2 plus 14, 16. If I plug in 3 plus 14, 17. Plug in 4 plus 14, 18. So, in other words, what's happening with these numbers is they just simply go up by 1 every time, huh? So this is the sequence that starts at 15. 15's the first number. And it just goes up by 1 every time. That's what this chapter is all about, is basically lists of numbers, but we're looking for a pattern in how the numbers come about. So they're asking me, first question, what's the common difference? What's the difference or what's the jump from number to number? Well, it's just 1, huh? That's called the common difference, the D for difference. From number to number, the difference is 1. It just goes up by 1 every time. All right. A question on that one. Yeah, it basically, I like your question, Raul. Let me answer it. I guess I'm just kind of assuming. Good question. What a sequence is, let me say this more clearly, is a formula in which you only plug in whole numbers starting with 1. Yeah, that's exactly what a sequence is. It's like a function. It's like me saying f of x equals x plus 14 kind of thing. But you're only allowed to plug in whole numbers starting with 1. You can't plug in 1.2. You can only plug in 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, etc. In other words, what we're producing is a list of numbers in consecutive order. We're saying 15 is the first number, 16, then 17, then 18, etc. That's what it means to be a sequence. You only plug in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Good question.
By that logic, wouldn't every sequence be increasing by 1?
No. If they put a 2x here,
okay,
that would change what the jump is. Yeah. All right. Let's see another one. So, so here they have 6n plus 13. So they're giving me the formula 6n, plus 3, not 13. And you know the deal. For sequences, we only plug in whole numbers starting with 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And they want me to crank out the first 4 terms. And let's see, we get plug in 1. You get 6 times 1 plus 3, 9. Plug in 2, 12 plus 3, 15. Plug in 3, 18 plus 3, 21. Plug in 4. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 3 is 27. So there's the first 4 terms in the sequence. And what's the difference or jump?
6.
Yeah, it's going up by 6. See, it's just that number that's in front of the n. So the jump is 6. So their first question, what's the difference from term to term? 6. And then they'll ask you, what are the first 4 terms? And there they are. Good enough so far? So another formula, 6 minus 8n. Same thing. Plug in 1, plug in 2, plug in 3, plug in 4. See what you get. So negative 2. 6 minus 16, negative 10. Minus 18. Minus 26. Okay, it's getting that. And what's happening? What's the jump? What's the difference from term to term? It's going down by 8 each time. See, again, it's just that number in front of n. That's always going to be... Now, they're not always going to give it to you this way, so... But if they do, if they give you a little formula, then yeah, the difference is always the d, the difference from term to term, is always that number next to n. Good? Easy enough so far? Could look at that one. So the formula is 1/3 minus a half n. So we'll go n equals 1. So plug in 1. 1/3 minus a half times 1. So what's that going to be? 1/3 minus a half. Excuse me. And then, so to subtract two fractions, what do we got to do to subtract two fractions? Common denom, multiply top and bottom by 2. That's 2. And top and bottom by 3. So we get 2/6 minus 3/6 minus 1/6, like that. That's the first term. And then let's go for the second. Second term is 1/3 minus a half times 2. So that's going to be 1/3 minus 1.
Just 2/3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, negative 2/3. Yeah, if you just know it's negative 2/3, that's great. You can just write it down. I'll make it, the 1, put it 1 over 1, multiply top and bottom by 3. It's 3/3, so minus 2/3 exactly, right? So now we can go on to n equals 3. So it's 1/3 minus a half times 3. So that's 1/3 minus... What do you do with a half times 3? The 3 goes to the top, right? Are we good with that? 3 over 1. 3 goes to the top. 3 halves like that. 1/3 minus 3 halves. If you got whole numbers are always over 1, so they go to the top, right? And then to subtract those, common denominator again. So multiply top and bottom of this one by 2, top and bottom of that one by 3. So we get 2/6 minus 9/6 minus 7/6 on that one. And then you can do the last one, right? And what's the jump amount from term to term? Yeah, I don't want to fool around. I can just look right here. Yeah, it's minus a half. That's going down a half from term to term. We could verify it if you want. Down, is that really minus a half to get to that? It is, because a half is 3/6. That makes that minus 4/6 or minus 2/3. It's true. Good. It's going down a half every time. The common difference is down a half every time. All right. So they're saying, okay, now the formula is natural log of 8 to the n. So plug in 1, plug in 2. So plug in 1, you get natural log of 8 to the 1. Natural log of 8. And this one's use your calculator. They say round to 3 places. So whatever that is, natural log of 8. I'm getting 2.079. And then natural log of 8 to the second. Natural log of 64. And that's going to be 4.159 and, dot, dot, dot. Yeah, and well, what's the little tricky question could be, what's the difference from term to term? What's the jump from term to term? It's not so simple. Well, generally, however you go, that is the D. The difference is whatever the difference is between the first two terms, right? Whatever the difference is between the first two terms, that's it. So the difference is 4.159 minus 2.079, which is actually 2.079, isn't it? So the difference from term to term is 2.079. Difference just means subtraction. right? Subtraction between two terms. Is that okay? All right. All right. A1 is 6. D is 2. Now, what is A1? A1 stands for first. So we're kind of getting into a new field here. It's kind of like what we're doing here at the end of the course. We did the matrix world, kind of learned the lingo there. Now we're in the sequence world. So here's how they speak this language. A1 means the first term. That subscript is the term number. So they're saying the first term is 6. D, you already know, is the difference from term to term, or the jump. Difference from term to term, the jump. Okay, so that means there's some sequence of numbers. It starts out at 6, and it goes up by 2 every time. So we add 2, 8, add 2, 10, add 2, 12, etc. Right, we're just adding 2 every time. Now, what do they want from me? Oh, find the nth term, and then eventually the 41st term. So they want me to, when they say nth term, that means a formula. They want me to come up with some kind of a formula where I could just say, find any term, the nth term, using an n, just be able to jump right to any term. Get the idea? See, right now, I have a way of going term by term. Like, I could find the 41st term, but it would take me a while. I'd have to add 2, add 2, add 2, add 2. I want to be able to just jump right out there to the 41st term. It's like the difference between a CD and the old cassette tapes. Did you guys ever listen to anything on an old cassette tape? If your favorite song is at the end of the cassette tape, you've got to fast forward through all the other songs. So if I want to get to the 41st term, using this method, I would have to add to it. I'll go through all of them to get there. But now we have CDs and DVDs, and life is better. You can just jump right to what you want. Well, that's what we want here, is a formula that will let us jump right to the 41st term without going through all the others. So how do we come up with a formula that'll do that? Any ideas? We know it starts at 6 and it adds 2 every time. How do I get out to the 41st term? Sorry.
Like 41 be in, or where there should be a place to make greater than 1 equal to put 41.
Yeah. The n will be 41, a place where we can plug in 41. I agree. Yeah, so what would it be in terms of n? If n's your term number, right? What would the formula be? Any ideas on how we would do that? Think this way. Say I wanted to find this is the first term, right? This is the second term, the third term, the fourth term. So how do you find the nth term?
Would it be 2n plus 4?
2n plus 4? What makes you think that?
Well, it has to equal 6.
It has to equal 6?
Yeah.
Oh, when you plug in 1, you mean?
Yeah.
Good.
So if you plug in 1, it goes 2 plus 4 equals 6.
Yeah, plug in 1, that's working, huh? So you see what Alex is thinking there? She's saying, look, it's got to be something where you plug in a 1 when n is 1 and you get 6. So this formula, plug in a 1, would give you 6. But there's other formulas. I would say, Alex, why not 3n plus 3? Plug in 1, that's also 6.
So you're adding by 3 every time. 2 is the multiplier.
Yeah, so that's why your thought's a good one. That's why you were thinking about the 2n, huh? Because you're thinking, yeah, but it's multiplying by 2 every time. That, in fact, is it. Good job. Let me give you a way to come up with that, in case that's not so easy for you to just guess at it. Here's the actual way we will do it. The a sub n formula will be n minus 1 times d. Is that it? I'm spacing out. Plus A1. Oh, yeah, I put the A1 first. Yeah, here, let me put it first.
Plus 2.
A1 plus n minus 1d. So there's the actual formula. In fact, I'll give you that. Is that true? Yes, I will. It's at the top of exam 4. I will just put it up there. You don't have to put it on 3x5 card. You'll see it's already on the prac exam. Prac exam's already online. It'll be right there at the top, along with a couple other formulas. This will be one of the ones we use. So this is saying the nth term, a sub n means the nth term, is a1, which means first term, plus n minus 1 times d. So let's see it work. A sub n is a1. What's a1?
6.
that's the 6, plus n minus 1. What's the d? 2 times 2. Now if we clean this up, we'll get Alex's formula. Distribute here, 2n minus 2. Everybody good so far? And 6 minus 2, 4 plus 2n. There it is. There's the formula. Is that making sense? So you can just use this, and you'll find it every time. Now in a minute, after you're a little more comfortable with it, I'll show you where that came from and why that will always work. But let me get you used to using it first. The last thing they wanted is the 41st term. So now, can we jump to our favorite song, the 41st song? Can we jump right down to the 41st term? So the 41st term is going to be whatever this formula gives you when you let n be 41. N's the term number. Are you starting to get the lingo in this world? N is the term number. So if I take the formula 4 plus 2n, and I put in for n 41, I get 4 plus whatever that is, 82, 86? Mm-hmm. So the answer would be 86. The 41st term is 86. Is that good? So that formula, 4 plus 2n, I could find the 100th term. I could find the millionth term right now by just plugging in. It's like a DVD. You can jump wherever you want, right? Once you have that formula. Got more power in the formula. All right. Let's try this one. So give that a try. They're giving you the first term. They're giving you the difference from term to term. A1 is 5. Can you all see that? A1 is 5. Let me put it up here. A1 is 5. D is minus 6. So it's going down 6 from term to term, right? So, and then they want you to find the nth term formula. So let me just write that out. AN is A1 plus n minus 1D. So go ahead and plug into that thing, clean it up. You'll have your formula. What's D? D is negative 6. It's times the D out there, right? This is n minus 1 times D, so it's times negative 6. So it's 5. What's that? Minus 6n plus 6. So is that 11 minus 6n? Did you get that formula? That okay? And now they're asking you to use that formula now to find the 65th term. So remember, n, they're saying plug in 65 for n. N is always the term number. So if I take 11 minus 6n and plug in 65, 360 and 30, 390. So subtract those. 79? Yeah, minus 379 on that. We good there? Questions I can answer? Let me, well, here, maybe do one more before I give you the reasons. So, find the 29th term. They want the 29th term. The first term is 8, or 7. So, A1 is 7. The difference from term to term is 1/4. It's going up, positive, so it's going up by 1/4 every term. So go ahead and find the formula first and then plug in 29. So the formula again, A sub n is A1 plus n minus 1D, like that. So what do we got here? A1, which is 7, plus n minus 1. D is a fourth. Like that. Might be easier to just use decimals, you know? That's whatever. It's whatever, either way. So 7 plus distribute. So 1/4 n minus a fourth. Good so far. Okay. What's 7 take away a fourth? You have 7 whole pies. 7 whole pies. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 whole pies. Those look kind of funny. 7 whole pies, and you take away a fourth of a pie.
6 3/4.
You take away a fourth. Yeah, you're left with 3/4 there and the other 6, huh? Is that good? You can just go 6 3/4 plus a fourth in, and then they're not going to let you. You have to convert that back to mixed numbers. So 6 times 4 is 24. Add 3, 27 fourths plus 1/4 in.
Oh, because you have to multiply it to 6 and then add 3.
Yeah, remember how to convert a mixed number to an improper? Yeah, you multiply the bottom and add the top.
Oh, that's fun.
Right? Or you could avoid all that and just do the fractions directly if you want. You know, you could say, I'm just going to take 7 minus a fourth over here. That's 7 over 1. Multiply top and bottom by 4. 28 fourths minus 1/4. Sure enough, 27 fourths. Either way. We good to there? Oh, and then they want me to find the 29th term. So now I got to plug in 29 for... So the 29th term would be 27 fourths plus 1/4 times 29. So that's over 1. So 29 fourths and 27 fourths, whatever that is. 4, 5, 56 fourths. Reduce that. 28 half. 14? Just the number, nice clean 14. There we go. We good? Am I going too fast?
Yeah.
Okay with all them fractions? Fractions are always a little messy. Is that good there? No good at all?
I can't believe we're about to have our exam in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, next week's Thanksgiving week, huh?
It's crazy. And then we have, what, like a month?
So we have a month
After
left.
Thanksgiving, we only have 2 weeks of class and then finals week. Yeah. Yeah, today's the 13th. Yeah, we're done a month from now. Our final is a month minus 2 days. Yeah. Our final's 4 weeks from today.
It's going to feel weird next semester. 'Cause I have a
All right. So there's the first term and the difference. They're the same. Both root 15. All right, so same kind of thing. You know the formula. A sub n is A1 plus n minus 1d. I'll give you that right at the top of the next exam. You just don't even have to memorize it. Just know how to use it. So plug those in.
So we don't have any homework on Turkey week?
I don't know. Doesn't sound like me.
You're right.
I'm kind of the homework man. You might have noticed. All right, so there's the formula, and then we distribute that. Root 15 plus root 15n minus root 15. These cancel, and we just get root 15n. Is that good? So there's the formula. One more time.
Does it matter if the end's in front or behind the root?
It doesn't. Yeah, good question. Yeah, either way. They're just multiplied, so yeah, either way. On that, Seema? Yeah. Okay, and so we got our formula. Now, which one do they want? Oh, there it is. 31st term. So now they want the 31st term. And you know that's always in, right? Getting the hang of that? Whenever. And let me try to get you warmed up for when they're going to start moving things around in a minute. You can remember the ordinal is always the in. What do I mean by ordinal? Order, numbers like 31st or 2nd or 5th, that implies an order, huh? When you put that little TH at the back or the ST or the RD. that means it's an order. If I just say, hey, the number 31, that's different than saying the 31st, right? That implies an order when you say it that way all of a sudden, right? Those are called ordinal numbers, and the reason I'm saying all that is not because I care about all the English language stuff, but that'll always be your in. That's how you recognize in. Whenever they put the ordinal, whenever they imply the order, then you know that's your in. In all the work we do, you just go, oh, there's in right there. Whenever they say the 5th, you go, oh, that's in. So then that's our in. So we just plug in to the square root of 15 in, plug in the 31. So yeah, it's square root of 15 times 31. And that's, yeah, there's nothing you can really do. Normally we'd put that in the front, like Seema was saying. Either way is fine. But there's nothing more you can do. That's just it. 31 root 15. Is that good? Oops. I did the last one. There it is. So the 110th term of that. 4, 8, 12, etc. So we have the sequence 4, 8, 12, dot, dot, dot. Find the 110th term. So what are you going to need to do? Get the formula first, right? The A sub n thing. So A sub n is A1 plus n minus 1d. Let's go ahead and do that. So first get the formula, and then once you get the formula, the 110th, notice is what's it called? Ordinal, so that's your n. That's your n. You'll plug in a minute after you first get the formula. Right? So 4 is the first term, plus n minus 1. What's the d? What's the difference from term to term here? It's going up by 4 every time, isn't it? So that's 4. Distribute. 4n minus 4. 4 minus 4. These cancel, don't they? So it's just 4n. That's the formula. Now, to find the 110th term, remember the ordinals, the th kind of numbers, that's your n. So just plug that in. So 110th term, oops, that looks a little funny, the way I wrote that. 110th term is 4 times 110. 440? There's the 110th term. Questions? Is that all good? Can we talk for a minute about why this formula is right now? Why does that always work? Why is that true? Well, if you start with 4 and you go up by 4 every time, you know, let's do a few more here, and you want to get out, say, to the 110th term, what that means is you start with 4 and then you add 4, don't you? How many times do you add 4?
109, right?
Yeah, 1 less than your term number. What do I mean? The first term is 4. The second term, third term, here, let me just write a few of these and see what it's doing. Basically, if you're starting at the first term, you need to, and you want to get out, say, to the third term. Let's just go to the third term. You need to add 4 twice. 2 jumps, huh? It's like if there's a frog, and he's on lily pad number 1, lily pad number 2, lily pad number 3 for the jumping. I'm using frogs here. So Mr. Frog jumps twice to get to lily pad 3. See how the number of jumps is always 1 less than the lily pad you land on? Right? It's 2 jumps to get out to lily pad 3. Because you already started on lily pad 1. You didn't have to jump there. You just started there. So then it's 2 jumps to get to number 3. 1 jump to number 2, 2 jumps to number 3, etc. The number of jumps is always 1 less. Well, that's why there's the n minus 1 here. We're saying whatever lily pad you end up on, if you want to be to the 110th term, then minus 1, that's 109 jumps, times the d, the difference, the jump, every time, plus the first term you started on, because that's all from the first term. That's why that formula is always true. Okay, so they want the 80th term of that. So we start at -3, -10, -17, etc. Find the 80th. So first find the formula. And minus 1 times d. We're almost to the point in this course. If you want a little good news about where we're at, we're almost done with new stuff. We got this section, 12.2. We got 12.3 and 12.5, 2 more sections. And then everything after that is trigonometry review. You guys have had trig, right? So 2 more new sections. And then it's all trig from there, which might be a nice feeling. Most people do pretty well in the trig because we do start from ground level again, and you've all had it. So it's kind of nice. So yeah, only 2 new sections after this one. The rest is trig, the rest of the course. All right, so what's the jump from term to term here? Going down by 7 every time, isn't it? Yeah. So the first term is -3, and the jump, the d, is -7, the difference from term to term. Distribute, -3 minus 7 in plus 7. Combine those two, what's that, 4? Minus 7 in. So there's the formula. And now we want to go to the 80th term. So plug in the 80 there. And we get 4 minus 560. Yeah, that's right, huh? Minus 556. There it is. The 80th term is pretty darn negative. Negative 556. Good there?
Yep.
All's well? All right. Oh, sorry, doing the wrong one. There it is. All right. 55th term. So 4 13/3, 14/3, 5? That's weird. I'll let you think about that.
It's pretty easy.
So you want a sub n is a1, it's n minus 1b. So get the formula, and once you've got it, plug in 55.
Isn't that just going by thirds?
Yeah, so everybody see it's going up by 1/3.
That's kind of given.
That's a little tricky. Yeah, you can tell, well, from here to here, that one's pretty clear. It's going up by 1/3, huh? But you might think, is that what happened from 4 to there? It is, huh?
Yeah.
Because 4 is really 12/3, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So you see how they added 1 to get 13/3? And when then you add 1 here, you get 15/3, which, yeah, that is 5. So they just wrote it kind of tricky, but it is. So the D is 1/3. D is 1/3. Pretty good with that. So the D is 1/3. And the A1 is 4. The D is 1/3. So there we go. And you know what, really, guys, if you want, and gals, you could just leave it like that. You don't need to. You can just plug in the 55 right now. That might be easier. Let's just do that. Let's just plug in the 55 right now.
Oh, yeah, because then.
Yeah, we don't need to mess all them fractions and then plug in the 55. Let's just plug it in right now. You can plug in any time you want. And so what do we get? 4 plus, that would be 54 times the third. Good like that. And then that is, put this over 1. 3 goes into 54. 18?
Yeah.
So 22. Is that too fast?
You sound like a loan shark. Don't worry about the paperwork. Just
Just sign
take the
here.
loan. Just sign.
22. Good there? All is well? Questions on that? Okay. So they're giving me 2 pieces of information about this sequence. They're saying the 8th term is 4. And the 21st term is 30. And from there, they want me to find like everything in the world. So how do we do it? Well, let's write out the basic formula. AN is A1 plus N minus 1D. We'll just keep using this thing for quite a while. Okay, now what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to plug in what we have. Remember what the eighth is? That's N. Remember the ordinal numbers. So here's where things are going to start to get confusing. And the thing that confuses people is they forget what things to plug in where. If you remember what I'm saying about the ordinal numbers, the numbers that imply ordering, like eighth, that implies, there were 7 before and you were eighth. That's N. That's always N. So N is 8. So that means, and I'll plug in the N right here for starters. A sub 8. A sub 8 is A sub 1 plus N is 8. Good so far?
I'm going to plug in 4 for A sub 1 right now.
And good job. A sub 8. What is A sub 8? The eighth term is 4. Well said. So let's just make this whole thing 4, because A sub 8 is 4. Is that okay? Oh, here, I'll do it in 2 steps so it's more clear. So first off, I plugged in 8 for N, and then this says 8th term. Everybody good with that lingo? This means the 8th term, which is 8th term is 4. And this, what's that? 8 minus 1, 7, D. Good to there so far? Now, let's do that same thing yet again for the second bit of information. For this stuff. 21st term, so plug in 21 for N. Oops, forgot the D here. 21 for N. See how I plugged in 21 for N there and there? Everybody see that? Because N, that's the ordinal number, right? 21st. That means order. That's N. It's always N. So what is it? What is A sub 21? What is the 21st term? It's 30, they're telling me. And this is 21 minus 1 is 20. Good to there. Okay, now what do we do? We have this and we have this, which is 2 equations, 2 letters. A1 and D. It's like X and Y, but it's A1 and D. We know how to solve 2 equations. So let me put them over here next to each other. Just slide it over there. So they're kind of lined up vertically. Okay. Now, you can do all kinds of plug-in methods, but I think the easiest thing to do would just to be to multiply the second equation by -1. Just run a negative sign through the bottom equation and then add them up because these A1s will cancel. That'll work every time when you're doing the A1D 2 equations thing, which they'll have several of these in the homework. Everybody see what I did? I just got the 2 equations, lined them up, and ran -1 through the bottom equation. These cancel. 30 minus 4 is 26. And this is, I don't know, I can't read it anymore. What is that? 30 plus, 20. It was 20, wasn't it? 20. My 20's a little messy there. These canceled, so they're gone. And this is, what, 13D? 20 minus 7?
26. Oh.
Yeah, 26 is 13D. So then divide by that 13. D is 2.
And then you plug that in to find A.
Plug that in to find A1. Is that good? So bring that over here. Put it in wherever you want. Remember, you can plug it in either formula. It doesn't matter. And we'll get 4 is A1 plus 7 times 2. So A1 plus 14, subtract 14. What's that, -10? A1 is -10. So we got it. We got A1 and we got D. So we've got the 2 formulas. Now what are we going to do? Well, if I can go to a fresh screen, everybody got that copy down? I'll go to a fresh screen. All right, so A sub n is A1 plus n minus 1D. And what were they? A1 is -10, and D is 2. A1 is -10, and D is 2. Got that formula? Now, what do they want me to do? Well, first off, they want me to... what do they want me to do? They want the first term, the common difference. Okay. So the first term? The first term is the A1, which is negative 10. The second question they're going to ask you is what's the difference from term to term? The D. That's just 2. And then what else do they want? And then they want recursive, answering the rest of their questions. So then finally they'll give you recursive. They'll say AN is A. How do they say it? But I forget now. What did they say? Say, what's the A1? So right here, after they ask those two, they'll say, all right, what's the A1? Well, that's this again, first term. And then they're going to say, all right, any term is the previous term plus what? And they'll ask you for this answer here. Do you understand what this lingo means? This means the nth term, like any term, is n minus 1. I don't know if you can read my writing there. That's n minus 1, which means previous. Remember how we talked about that? N minus 1 is 1 less n. That means previous term. So we're saying any term is the previous term plus what? In other words, what do you add to each term? Yeah, that's just the D again. So basically you just go A1D, A1D, is really what you're doing. They're just saying it in different ways. And then finally, they want the A sub n formula. They do want you to clean this up first. So they want you to go negative 10 plus 2n minus 2, negative 10 minus 2 minus 12 plus 2n. That's the final thing they want. Is that good? So this is the recursive because we're basically saying you take the previous term, you add 2 every time. That's what you do. You just add 2 every time. All right. There we go. So 8th term is negative 4. And 16th term is 52. Can you do those? So again, we're going to use the A sub n is A1 plus n minus 1d. So 8 is the n, right? The ordinal numbers are always in. So A sub 8 is A sub 1 plus 8 minus 1d. A sub 8 is negative 4. So negative 4 is A1 plus 7d. And then the other one, A sub n is A1 plus n minus 1d. The 16th term, A sub 16 is A1 plus 16 minus 1d. And that's A sub 16, 52 is A1 plus 15d. Got those two? All right, we're out of time. We just got to put those together and solve, but